Hey, I'm Fireball Tim, and welcome to the first annual World Class Automotive Film and Arts Festival. Please give a warm welcome to writer, producer, and director Micheal Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a seat. So much goes into a film like this. What was the length of, from the initial point for you, the initial inspiration to do this film? How long did this whole thing take?
Well, it was probably a 2.5 year total process. And I'm fond of saying, I'm always looking for a good story, but this story found me. So I had an idea. While my collection is not open to the public, it's in a pretty fun, tricked out garage. It has its own website. It's called hookedonvets.com, if you should want to visit it. But anyway, occasionally Corvette clubs come and visit, and I thought, well, they seem to enjoy my collection, and I love looking at other people's collections. So what about a cable TV show called Vet Collection? So I registered the name, and we started going around the country producing short segments on various collections. And it was while interviewing Lance Miller. I had never met Lance until I met him at Barrett Jackson a couple of years ago, and we started talking, and I told him what I was doing. I said, I'm aware of your father's collection and that you now have it and have added to it. Would you be open to letting us talk about doing a segment of your collection? He said, sure. So my crew and I went to Pennsylvania 2 or 3 months later, and it was in the course of interviewing him about his collection that this story came out. And he told me what his plans were. And I went, whoa, wait a minute. The Vet Collection thing, that can go on the shelf for a while. This is the story we need to tell. Right. So it was a sizable commitment. We wound up shooting in 12 states, from Connecticut to Southern California, and a dozen points in between, and then we spent a week in Europe for the final scene. So it was a great commitment, and as I say, a story that found me. But it was really a labor of love. I really enjoyed it.
It's a lot of things. I mean, it's a love story.
It is.
It's a fantastic piece of history.
Yeah.
But it's also a mystery.
Yeah. It's Corvette history. It's Corvette racing history. The NCRS guys, the National Corvette Restorer Society, the people who find these cars and restore them, they like it, obviously, because it's all about that. But the greatest compliment that I've had since we released the film is from a number of people, usually women, spouses, but not always, but typically it's women will say, my husband, I came because he wanted to see it. I really don't care about cars, but I was taken with the love story, as you say, between a father and a son. So I like to think that it appeals to different people on different levels. It did to me. That's what attracted me to it.
Let me ask you more of a philosophical question, and that is simply, what is it about cars, in your opinion, that connects people?
Specifically, and I've said this before, as far as Corvettes, you either are a Corvette person or you're not. And if you are, you really are. And it's sort of inexplicable. And I think the same thing can be said about cars in general. This is my first time to be in Monterey in Pebble Beach weekend. I've been here before. My wife and I were here a year ago.
So you're ODing on Corvettes at this point?
No. But I was telling someone earlier today, people who are not car people, who are not involved, have no idea how big, and my wife, I have to say, is one of those. Right. Until I really got into this years ago, she said, I had no idea how many people and how passionate they are about cars. Why, I don't know. But it's just, it's a part of our history. We're a car nation more than any other in the world, and we certainly don't have a lock on it. I don't know, it's an inexplicable thing. But if you're a car person, you really are.
You do know, there's a lot of complexities to it, because I'm a designer by trade for vehicles, but everyone has their own specific little passion,
yeah.
you know, and if it's Corvettes or Mustangs or anything else. But it's also points in time. So people are into Corvettes because they have history with that vehicle. You know, or they may appreciate design on a certain level, so it leans them in a certain direction. And there's that commonality for people.
It's a very personal thing, and we all remember when we turned 16, and those of us who got a car when we turned 16, it was that independence, and that became a major part of our life. And I lost my mother at age 92 a couple of years ago, and that I realized, and I'd heard this from so many other people who were in my situation with elderly parents, when she had to stop driving, that was the most difficult thing about the process, because you're giving up that independence, that attachment to a car, and the freedom that it provides.
Sure. Now, when was this film completed?
It was completed 2 years ago. 2 years ago. We premiered it in 1911 at Carlisle. Incidentally, Corvettes at Carlisle, which you learned about in this, if you didn't know, is next weekend. It's probably the preeminent, to me, Corvette event in the country every year. It's usually the last weekend or so in August, and it's next weekend. And forgive me, John, could you bring the house lights up? Lance, are you here? Lance Miller was here earlier. I don't know if he's still here. There he is. Stand up and take a bow, Lance. Lance is the heart of this story, and that's where it all started for me, and I couldn't have done what you've just seen had it not been for Lance and his family and cooperation, and I'm pleased to say since then, friendship. So thanks for coming by, Lee.
So what is the intention now? Is you're going to get the film out as much as possible?
We've done a number of screenings like this around the country. There's no specific schedule. The next one will be at Ocean City, New Jersey, at a big Corvette event next month. We've taken it, it's been in a number of venues. It has a website, questdocumentary.com, and we've been selling DVDs online for a couple of years since we released it. They're still available, and I have some in the lobby here. As far as, I have a distributor out here who actually sought me out. He has sold it to Discovery Asia, go figure. It's being screened there. Yeah, a lot of people. And in Germany. So far, he has not found a home for it on American television. To me, it's perfect fit for Velocity or Speed or some of these cable channels. But so hopefully that'll happen. But so far, it hasn't.
Absolutely. And your passion for filmmaking. The films that you've done, has everything been car-based? Have you tried to?
No, as a matter of fact, this is my first pure car-based. I may have mentioned, or I meant to. For several years, I've been trying to figure out a way to combine what I do, which is produce film, with what I'd rather do, and that's the classic cars and Corvette.
Right.
So I've done a number of short feature things that we have on a YouTube channel, profiles of Corvette owners and some of these clubs, and some things that we shot at the racetrack driving ZR1 Corvettes. But this is my first feature-length film exclusively having to do with automobiles, and I hope it's not the last. I'm looking for the next story. But it has to be something that I'm passionate about, because it is a big commitment, both in time and certainly financial.
Well, that's what I wanted to tap into that for a second. So this obviously was a dream project, and you've achieved that, and it's extraordinary. It really is. Is there something else that is brewing for you that would be a passion that you would like to explore?
As far as cars?
Well, for your next film.
Yeah. Well, the antenna is up. I'm always looking. I have 2 or 3 things that sort of over here, nothing really that I can talk about at the moment. Nothing has solidified yet. I think it's, my wife is a novelist, so it's sort of the same process. She says I have many times these ideas, these characters in my head, but there's something, there's a spark that turns that idea into a story. And it's sort of the same thing with me. You have to know, okay, yeah, this has all the elements, and that's a rare thing, and it happened when I was talking to Lance that first time. So I'm not avoiding the question. The antenna's up, but I don't have anything specific. But I'm ready to go when I find it.
Is your wife your muse? Is she good to bounce ideas off?
Well, yeah. As far as story, and she's more successful than I, and so she read the script after I wrote it several times, and helped me with that. So we do bounce ideas off of one another. She's probably more help to me than I am with her on her novels, but we do the same thing.
How long have you guys been married?
Funny you should ask. 45 years tomorrow.
Wow, congratulations, give him a hand.
Thank you.
Wow, that's an achievement in itself. Yeah. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump down into with these guys, and maybe someone might have an idea for Michael for his next project.
Yeah,
see what happens, okay?
Give me a Lance Miller,
turn this thing on, so you guys have about 3 seconds.
Maybe your next quest could be to find number one.
Good question. I anticipated somebody surely would ask about that. Have you heard that, and I love the way I was able to end this story with those facts, and a little over, roughly a year ago, the number one car surfaced. Had you heard that? It ruined my ending, but I haven't changed it because that is an ongoing story. There's not a lot I can say about it because there's not a lot that I know. Bottom line is the car was definitely found after all of these years. It was found in Florida, and immediately and since has been tied up in litigation, and it's a nightmare legal battle of suits and countersuits and claims and counterclaims, most of which, from what I know, are ridiculous, but nonetheless has to play out in court. So the car is out of the public eye in an unknown warehouse, and I don't know, it's going to be, I mean, it was scheduled to come to court in January. Now I understand next January. Now I understand that's been pushed back 3 or 4 months, and so I don't know what's going to happen. But it has been found. And that will be a great, not necessarily a whole documentary, but at least a feature that I hope to do. But right now, there's no point in even trying because it's very muddy.
You still need some time to rest too, don't you?
Yeah.
Lance, you got to be proud of this guy. I mean, he has established a piece of your life on film, right? What can you tell us about that?
I think everybody saw my daughter throughout the movie. Love her dearly. She's 4 years old now, and it's great. She never had an opportunity to meet her grandfather. And I mean, we were best friends, without a doubt. And it's great to know that when she has children, she's going to be able to throw in a DVD and, you know, show her children just the kind of guy he was. So I can't thank Micheal Brown enough and his whole team. He really did a great job. I'm proud of him, and I'm proud to be his friend.
Fantastic. That's, you know, you can make a lot of films, but when it comes to something like this, where you establish a point in time that's based on the love of a family, that's based on the love of a vehicle, based on history, mystery, a love story. There's so much here. And I think you guys felt that, didn't you? I mean, you know, I don't know if you were balling, but I tend to get that way, you know. And that's simply telling stories about people and the things that they've gone through, and you can relate to that for yourself.
However many there are of you took the time to come and sit in, it's especially appreciated by me. So thank you all for coming, and thanks to everyone who organized this festival, and I hope it's the first of what will become a successful annual event. Thank you all.
We're very grateful. Thank you. Give them a round of applause. All right, we're going to take a break about 10 minutes, and